I once wandered into a century-old sanatorium perched on a misty hillside, half expecting Sherlock Holmes to peer at me through a brass spyglass. Instead, what greeted me was a parade of bathrobes. Emerald green, pearl white, even a scandalous shade of raspberry, fluttering down the long corridor like petals in the wind. The walls hummed quietly with the promise of muddied feet, steam-laden lungs, and aromatic oils so potent they could have revived the pharaoh. Somewhere overhead, a bell tinkled at precisely 7:17 a.m., just after a daybreak and just before any reasonable person's concept of breakfast. Yes, today I'll talk about the sanatoria on Knowing is Winning. So, what exactly is a sanatorium? Back in the mid-19th century, pneumonia and tuberculosis were the rock stars of respiratory diseases, and doctors were desperate for anything more effective than leeches and strange potions. Mind you, leeches have been proven to be effective against a number of ailments and thus have been used and in use for centuries, but definitely not against pneumonia. So without antibiotics, physicians embraced a regimen of rest, high altitude air, strict hygiene instructions, and isolation, convinced that fresh mountain breezes and cold climates could bolster the body's own defenses against the ravages of pulmonary consumption. The modern sanatorium movement began with George Boddington's pioneering but short-lived establishment in Sutton Coldfield in 1836, and his 1840 essay on the treatment and cure of pulmonary consumption. Its real breakthrough, though, came in 1863 with Hermann Bremer open his Bremersche Halsanstalt für Lungenkranke in Silesia, turning open-air therapy into systematic treatment model. Patients reclined on sun-soaked balconies, inhaling crisp air and enjoying nourishing diets, all under the watchful eye of medical staff who believed such environments could facilitate the immune system's walling off of TB lesions. By the turn of the century, sanatoria had sprouted across Europe's mountain ranges and rural highlands, designed as hybrids of hospitals and resorts. Their architecture, characterized by large glazed solariums, flat roofs, and bright open corridors, influenced the emerging modernist movement. These institutions, often founded by charitable orders or social insurance funds, became global by the mid-20th century, exporting the idea of pure air therapy far beyond the Alps and Carpathians to every continent in the fight against tuberculosis and other chronic ailments. Fast forward a century, antibiotics arrived and shattered TB's glamour, but sanatoria refused to vanish. They reinvented themselves as modern spas and rehabilitation centers, treating everything from chronic rheumatism to existential burnout. And if you think that someone can still catch TB, think again. Drug-resistant strains lurk in corners of the globe. Even more prevalent today are heart conditions, musculoskeletal woes, metabolic disorders, and the dreaded catch-all, stress. Sanatoria adapted by adding gyms, dietitians, psychologists, and state-of-the-art diagnostic suites, all while retaining their open-air balconies and communal rest hours. In Europe, these health resorts cluster in the Alps, the Sudets, the Black Forest, and pockets of Eastern Europe where mineral springs bubble from ancient faults. Germany boasts grand names like Baden-Baden and Bad Kissingen. Austria parades Bad Gastein, Bad Hofgastein, and Bad Iskol. The Czech Republic pampers you in Karlovy Vary and Mariánské Lázně. Hungary steams your senseless in Hevic and the Gallert baths. Poland entertains you in Cechocynek, Krynica-Zdrój, or Solec-Zdrój, with the highest concentration of natural sulfur springs. Lithuania, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Georgia, and even Ukraine. Each country lays claims to at least one wonder of healing water and restorative wilderness. Who goes there nowadays? Is it just celebrities or rich people who enjoy the mud baths, etc.? No. Retirees keen on chlorinated sauna rituals, busy executives seeking a digital detox, post-operative patients needing gentle hydrotherapy, and city dwellers fleeing air pollution for clean air altitudes. Fashion models come for anti-cellulite mud wraps, yoga enthusiasts arrive for Himalayan salt cave meditations, and yes, there is always at least one blogger insisting a healing plate of fermented cabbage and buckwheat saved her or his life. Treatments range from the classical, balneotherapy in iron-rich thermal pools, peat and mud compresses, inhalation huts filled with eucalyptus vapors, to cutting-edge offerings, hyperbaric oxygen chambers that sound like UFO cockpits, infrared saunas that feel like standing inside a gentle star, cryotherapy booths chilling you faster than a polar bear sneeze, and guided forest bathing sessions where you breathe in phyticides like an overenthusiastic pine tree. Benefits? Improved circulation, reduced joint pain, boosted immunity, calmer nerves, clearer skin, deeper sleep, and unplanned friendships forged over synchronized rest hour yawns. The combination of mineral-rich water and specialized exercises floods your bloodstream with endorphins and magnesium, while the diet, often crafted by a nutritionist specializing in therapeutic cuisine, trims inflammation and curbs cravings. The most intangible perk is a regained rhythm. Wake with the sunrise, sip water between treatments, stroll through dew-sparkling gardens, nap on a sun-soaked balcony, and dine at the communal table where everyone gossiping over beetroot soup has something unexpectedly optimistic to share. Additionally, apparently in Poland, there are also so-called dancing evenings where pretty much everybody, no matter what age, gathers to dance and gossip, of course, to tunes from yesteryear, spun by an elderly but enthusiastic DJ. Everybody has to be in bed by 10 p.m. though, by himself or herself or together if the love bug bites. Yes, old people can and do fall in love too, and oftentimes while they're in sanatorium. Now, scientists have just discovered that bathing in certain geothermal springs can alter your gut microbiome, essentially resetting your internal ecosystem. Peptide extracts from local algae now feature in facial masks with antioxidant powers rivaling your morning latte. Now, studies show photonicide inhalation in pine forests raises your white blood cell count within hours. Ozone therapeutiums, once the stuff of conspiracy memes, use a precisely controlled blend of oxygen and ozone to detoxify your blood. It all feels slightly futuristic, but with a century-old aesthetic: wooden deck chairs, terrazzo floors, sun balconies with glass walls. Imagine yourself in the Bauhaus-inspired Palmio Sanatorium designed by Alvar Aalto in 1933, with solariums that double as catwalk-worthy venues for sun therapy. Or picture the sprawling modern classical facade of Bad Pyrmont, surrounded by rose gardens where ladies once promenaded in sepia-toned photographs. Each building is an architectural love letter to sunlight and fresh air, with terraces angled for maximum vitamin D intake and floor plans optimized to allow nurses to peer in without disturbing your polka dot pajamas. Your daily schedule may look regimented. Light exercise at 8 a.m., mineral bath at 10, therapeutic massage at noon, mud bath at 3. But it unfolds with clockwork grace rather than prison yard drill. There is a collective hush, like everyone's holding their breath in shared anticipation of well-being. On the one hand, you're a part of a meticulous monitored program under a careful supervision of doctors and therapists. On the other hand, you feel wildly free from the obligation of emails, traffic jams, and deadlines. Meals become mini celebration of local produce, root vegetable stews in Bad Gastein, fish from Danube Delta in Romania, goose fat potatoes in Bavaria, red beets, kefir and pickles in Poland. Your taste buds do a happy dance and your doctor nods approvingly at your sodium-reduced antioxidant-rich plate. You might even sneak an extra slice of dark rye bread, reasoning that probiotics and sourdough count as part of the treatment. Mental therapies are woven in, too. Mindfulness sessions under a forest canopy, laughter yoga in a bright full hall, creative writing workshops, channeling your introspective side into haiku about steam vents. A retired architect from Munich once told me he had redesigned his entire life plan by scribbling floor plans for a life less ordinary during an art therapy session. Somehow, the slow pace unlocks genuine insight. Digital detox policies are enforced with the gentlest of nudges. No Wi-Fi in the common rooms. Phone charging stations kept out of sight. And a no screens rest hour that has everyone reading actual paper books. Babies of the 21st century discover the joys of analog voicemail and letter writing, while grandparents delight in teaching kids how to play cards again. Recent clinical trials confirm what sanatorium devotees have long claimed. A 2-week stay can lower markers of chronic inflammation by up to 30%, improve your lung capacity in COPD patients, and even shift mood disorder symptoms toward remission. Participants return home armed with personalized exercise routines, new friendships cemented over herbal tea, and a fresh perspective on daily stressors that once felt insurmountable. I still chuckle when I recall the pair of Hungarian bankers who arrived clutching laptops only to discover their daytime tasks had been cheerfully replaced by guided forest treks and salt cave inhalations. By day 5, they confessed they had forgotten their passwords both for email work and for normal life, and they emerged half a week later with brighter eyes, uncharacteristically smooth skin, and an uncanny craving for cauliflower soup. Modern sanatoria also offer virtual follow-ups. You can log in for telehealth check-ins 6 months down the line, ensuring the benefits stick longer than your newfound ability to nap without guilt. Some centers partner with tech startups to track your sleep patterns, hydration, and step counts, translating old-world charm into 21st century data insights. Why do these retreats still matter when a gym membership and a smoothie bar are just a click away? Because they deliver immersive transformation. You live inside a microculture that exists solely for your healing. The heritage buildings, the time-worn trails, the perpetually rising steam from pools signal that you're part of something greater than your inbox. Climate change may unfurl new airborne allergens, but the high-altitude, low-pollution retreats only gain in value. The architecture, the rituals, and the mineral-rich waters endure as testament to the power of place. In my final morning, I slipped into a bubbling iron tonic bath, the mountains painted gold by sunrise, The water embraced me like an old friend. I emerged with limbs lighter than I had felt in years, and lungs so full of fresh air they practically hummed. I slept onto a balcony, sipped a cup of tea made from locally foraged herbs, and realized that the word sanatorium, once dusty with Victorian formality, had become shorthand for possibility. Possibility that you can recover, renew, and reimagine life in just few dozen days. So, if you ever find yourself craving a break from the relentless scroll, pencil in a sanatorium stay. Pack sensible shoes, an open mind, and maybe a paperback novel that's seen better days. Forget the influencers who think only of money and the most shocking news that will seem irrelevant in a couple of weeks. You will return home with a clearer skin, a steadier heartbeat, and at least one story about how two bankers accidentally cured their own burnout with nothing but mud, steam, and a kazoo solo in a cedar-lined sauna. Trust me, it's worth every minute. You have not truly lived until you have been to a good sanatorium. And this was Knowing is Winning. Thank you very much for watching.